Hello everyone and welcome back to my channel. I'm so glad you're here because today we're going to be talking about something really important that I feel that is essential to your natural hair journey. This video is going to be mostly focusing on those that are transitioning from perms or straight hair to, well, if you have straight hair you probably have natural straight hair, but just perm, straight hair to natural coils, waves, curls, the whole nine. So if you are new to my channel, go ahead and hit that subscribe button if you so wish. Please do, because I feel you get a lot out of my channels, the truth, the real, and the raw. And if you are already subscribed to my channel, thank you so much for returning. You're going to have fun today. So let's go ahead and take this out and let's begin. As you can see, my hair is, compacted. I got my fro going on, my little TWA. I'm staying away from baby hairs at this point just because I feel like when you when you manipulate your hair too much, especially around the edges, and this is part of, transitioning as well, but when you manipulate your hair so much, sometimes it can tend to break off, especially around the perimeter of your head. So you want to be careful about overly using like controls, gels, pastes, glue for your edges. Even though it looks pretty, you want to make sure you're doing it for longevity and not just a short-term effect. So let's get started by just saying the first thing that you want to do when you're transitioning, or just the basic steps to learning becoming a natural, is learning your hair. You want to, learn the texture of it. You want to feel what your hair is doing when you put products in it. You want to feel what your hair feels like without product. You want to basically pay close attention to your hair at this point when you're learning your hair. You want to pay attention to moisture retention, how it's retaining its moisture, if it's flaking at heavier products, if it's getting more oily and dripping at slipper products, is it becoming too greasy too quickly, how is it reacting when you step out into the sun versus how it reacts during the winter. You definitely want to pay attention to your hair, or learn your hair throughout the different seasons of your natural hair journey, because the type of products that you use, or the way your hair will react to certain things in the summer, it's going to be completely different from the winter, because you're having two different types of weather reactions. You're having a hot summer where the sun is beaming down, so you're probably going to need lesser products, just depending on your hair. Again, this is all about learning your hair. So everybody's hair type is different, everybody's hair structure is different. So just because I have to pay closer attention to my hair during the summer, your hair may not need that much manipulation or maintenance during the summer, just depending on your coils and the texture of your hair. When you go into the winter months, of course, that's when everybody freaks out. Every natural hair girl freaks, and how natural hair boy freaks out, because those are the drier months. Oh, you definitely want to make sure your hair is moisturized, it's retaining its moisture as much as possible. We'll get into the type of moisturizers and oils and type later, but right now you're just focusing on learning your hair. And how long does that take, you say? Well, if your hair is short, if your hair is long, it just depends. Sometimes it can take you 2 to 4 weeks to learn your hair, but to really get in the groove, I would say it takes at least 2 to 3 months to know what your hair is doing before you can say, okay, I can put this in my hair and it's not gonna react harshly as if I put this in my hair or this product in my hair. So it just definitely depends on how close of attention you're paying to your hair. I see products all the time that do not work for my hair just because I have sensitive scalp. I have drier than normal scalp, and I know this about myself. So I'm not going to go in with a heavy chemical fragrance based product when all my hair is going to do either break off, become brittle, or inflate. That's just what I've learned about my hair. So when you're also learning your hair, you want to learn your curl pattern, because that also matters with the type of moisturizer, the type of shampoo, the type of detangler, or so forth that you want to use for your hair. When you have tighter curls, a lot of people may say, oh, well, you need heavier moisturizers. I would say when you have tighter curls, you basically need a good, thick consistency. And that's not to say that the moisturizer or the oil is thick. It's just the product is compact with a lot of natural essentials to your hair. So when it says for thick hair, for dry hair, those are the products that you need to be looking at. Pay attention definitely to what the products are saying on these labels, because it can give a great overview of what it's supposed to do on the front, but when you look in the back and you look in the ingredients, you see all kind of dyes, alcohol, chloride, fragrances, chemicals that just are not necessary for your natural hair. So you definitely want to pay closer attention the more you move into your hair journey and the more you transition into becoming a natural. You are learning, you are training your hair from start to finish. So when you're training your hair, like I said, for my hair, thicker products are they just don't settle well with my hair, because my hair is thick. So if I'm using something that's thick with thick, what is it gonna do? Just sit on top, smash into it, and it's not going to absorb the moisture. That's what I've learned about my hair. That's how I've trained my hair to be, because if I'm using something that doesn't work over and over again, well, my hair is not going to retain any type of moisture, and it's not going to be in a healthy state. Also, you want to, when you're training your hair, you want to make sure you have a hydrating shampoo. You want to make sure you have a moisturizing conditioner. And these are because we are naturals. We need that moisture in our hair. Natural hair is thick. Natural hair is curly. Natural hair sometimes can be very drying and have that drying effect to it, because it needs that moisture. It's not like a chemical process permed where you can just spray oil sheen on there throughout your day and it's done. Again, I'm not an expert with permed hair, chemically processed hair. I do not know much about that, but I do know I was permed in my younger days, and I know that you don't have to maintain it as much as you do a natural hair, because natural hair, it grows wild. Okay, so that's why it needs every tender loving care that it can get. The reason why you want to go with hydrating shampoo and moisturizing conditioner is just because you want to replace the moisture back in your hair each time you wash it. You just don't want to use a stripping shampoo that's going to dry your hair out even more. The drier your hair is, the more it becomes damaged, brittle, and it breaks off on the ends. And you don't want that, because unhealthy ends means your hair is not going to grow as to a substantial length that you want. It probably is going to stay the same, or it's not going to grow at all. So you definitely want to have those hydrating shampoos to replace those moistures. You definitely want to have a moisturizing conditioner to retain and hold that moisture tightly in, so that way when you get ready for the next step, which is moisturizing or oils, it doesn't need as much. How you prep your hair is how your hair, it's like basically preparing it for that next step. So if you're preparing your hair in a way that is very conditioned, well, then you're not going to need these heavy moisturizers, these heavy oils that will potentially just drip out of your hair, especially, did I just wipe that off? Okay, especially during the summer months. So And then you go into like deep conditioners, detanglers, and all these fancy words that I would definitely explain, but sometimes are not needed when you're training your hair. When you're training your hair, you just want to go through the basics. You don't want to add all these fancy cocktails and all these different milks in your hair, just because it's too much. Too much of a good thing is not a good thing at all. And when you're, like I said, when you're training your hair, you want to stick to you want to be as simple and have simplicity as much as possible. When you go into like protein treatments, oil treatments, those things are good to have in your regimen, but is it good to have in your regimen at this point? Just depends on how your hair is. Now, when you were back in the beginning stages, when you were just learning your hair, testing out all different things just to see how your hair reacts to certain things, that's when you know if your hair is like low porosity, if it's high porosity. And low porosity just means very dry. It retains, of course, it's going to retain moisture at a different weight. It's the coils may be a little bit tighter, so you're definitely gonna need more slip in your products, and that just means wet-like consistency. So when you have that drying effect to your hair, you're definitely gonna want to add protein, but that comes again at your time. I don't want to say it comes later or it comes earlier, because it really just depends on how you've learned, how you've gained knowledge about what your hair does. So protein treatments and these oil treatments, some people do not like oil, some people are very protein sensitive, and again, it just depends on your scalp, just depends on your hair. But protein in these oil treatments are just basically to thickening your hair strands, so that way it can retain moisture better and it can flourish in a more healthier way. Everybody needs protein in their diet. It's just one of those things that restores energy, and if you don't have this one thing, well, that protein backs it up. So it's one of those things that's just always essential to have. But again, it's not, just depending on when you need it. If your hair is thinning at different locations of your hair, or if your hair is damaged at the ends, if your hair is has a lot of split ends, if your hair is flaking, dandruff, dryness, your hair is probably going to need that protein, that extra that protein, so that way it's like a vitamin almost, just to support your hair strands a little bit more, so they can stand up stronger and they can stand for what they believe in, which is healthy hair. So again, protein treatments and oil treatments, it really just depends on your hair. Like I said before, and then I'll let you go, when you're transitioning into your natural hair journey, or you're just wanting to know the basicness of your hair, you want to stay away from the cocktails, the mousse, the styling gels, custards, all these fancy words that are just basically that fancy, but it's just fancy for protective styling. When you're transitioning, your hair is fragile at this point, so putting it in a protective style, in my opinion, is just like putting a seed out in a cup with no soil, with no water, with no sun, period. Just you're throwing it into a cave and you're letting it sit there for a couple months, and you expect when you take it out for your hair to just be so curly and lengthy and, you know, good and juicy and all the whole nine. And that's not necessarily going to be the case, because you don't know your hair. Now, protective stylings are good for your hair, but again, if you don't know your hair, what good is it to do just to put braids in when you have damaged hair, when you have, I don't mean to laugh, but it's so silly to me, because it doesn't make any sense if you don't know your hair, because then your hair is going to react all kind of ways under the protective styling, and when you take it out, you're going to be like, oh, I'm taking out pieces of my hair as I'm taking out the braids. My hair is so dry and crunchy. Or you might take out braids and you become bald because you don't know what kind of moisture your hair needs. So protective styling comes after you've learned your hair. It comes after you've trained your hair. And then you can say, okay, well, my hair is at a substantial length. My hair is it's in a healthy state. Sure thing, I can throw in some braids. That way once you leave it alone for a couple of months, it's still doing that same routine under your cap, or under your style, under these custards. So your hair is a living organism. If it can grow, if it can sprout, if it can absorb moisture, if it can split, damage, break, it's a living organism, because it can do so many different things just in one stage. So that's why I say it's definitely important to pay attention to your hair, so that way it can flourish the way you want it to be. Well, I'm not going to keep you any longer. Let's put this back in my hair. I hope this video was very informative to you. If I missed a couple of things, I'll definitely list them down in the description box below. But I think I hit on some pretty good points, especially when it comes to your natural hair growth, your natural hair journey, and your transitioning growth. So, I will talk about split ends and trimming your hair later on in another video, but right now we're just talking about the basics. So if you thought this was very informative, I can take this out. If you thought this was very informative and you thought this was a great video to learn about, then give this video a thumbs up, give it a like, and please comment your opinions, your thoughts. Let's start a chat, because everybody needs help with their natural hair journey. Not everybody is an expert. And some of us lean on each other for that support. So don't forget to share the love. And if you aren't already, go ahead and subscribe. You made it to the end of this video. Why not, my friend? Go ahead and do this video justice by subscribing and sharing all the love that you so wish. Because if we're not helping each other, we're depleting our human race. Okay? You guys have a great day or morning or night wherever you are, and I will see you in my next video. Talk to you soon.